Renaissance London Museum Volunteer Awards celebrate the contribution that volunteers make to London's museum sector. They recognise the major role that volunteers play in caring for and interpreting London's heritage and culture, and ensuring that this heritage is accessible to Londoners and tourists alike. These awards are an opportunity to highlight how important volunteers are to museums, showcase the range of roles volunteers undertake, and show the diversity of different people who offer their time as volunteers.
My name's Joe Carr. I'm curator at Brent Museum. We're a relatively small team and volunteers help us in all aspects of our day-to-day work. We have volunteers working on collections management, conservation, and also working for education and events programmes.
My name is Karolina Zawadzka and I come from Poland. I've been living in London for about 4.5 years. I have started volunteering because I wanted to get some more experience and also to put my knowledge to use and learn new skills. I led a group of Polish volunteers. I was the one who was responsible for contacting them, helping to organize meetings and workshops. When I found out that I won, I couldn't believe it. I was so surprised. I felt appreciated. I felt like the work we did was good and has been important.
My name is Mark Smith and I'm the curator of the Royal Artillery Museum in Woolwich. Our volunteers are really the backbone of our front of house operations. They act as warders, they act as guides, and they act as first point of contact for people who come to the museum. Without the volunteers, we couldn't operate in anywhere near the same sort of capacity that we do at the moment. Jason brings something different to the museum.
My name is Jason Multimore. I volunteer at Firepower, the Royal Artillery Museum in Woolwich, and I'm a gallery and educational assistant. My main role here at Firepower is as a gallery assistant to assist visitors to understand the exhibits and to see what they are and explain what they do. If there is a school party and I'm here as an educational assistant, I will then show children what maybe their grandfathers, great uncles would do and would have to do during the war. I started volunteering originally as a kind of work-related therapy, as at the time I was suffering from severe depression. And this was thought to be a good idea to get me interactive with people and getting into a routine.
Jason is our reenactor. Jason is our living history person. Jason is the person in our museum who brings the actual artefacts to life.
I can tell a story of how I, as a gunner, could take a particular vehicle to D-Day and what I would have done on that day. As I take children round, I can talk about where exhibits were used, who used them. I feel this is important because it brings history to life and allows the children to see it as a first person. Winning the award to me actually came as a big surprise. I wasn't even aware I'd been nominated for it. And so I was shocked and very, very pleased to be firstly nominated and then actually win the prize, to be valued by the people I work with.
I'm Teresa Doherty, Collections Manager here at the Women's Library. The Women's Library has had a very long and established routine of having volunteers in.
My name is Jean Holder. I'm a volunteer at the Women's Library and Museum. Towards the end of my career, when I was about to retire, the school where I was working was being closed. And I knew there was a wealth of archival type material recording what has happened at the school. It was suggested that the then Fawcett Library would be happy to take it. And I was so thrilled and pleased. In a moment of weakness, I said, "Is there anything I can do to help?" And they said, "Yes, you can be a volunteer." And I was, and that was 17 years ago.
In a small team, when there's a changeover in staffing, it can be quite difficult. And having somebody like Jean, who's here every week, when I'm in between a librarian or an archivist or something, it does help everyone in the team to know that certain work is being done and that there's a regularity to it. It's an immense support.
I do all sorts of things. Sometimes I engage in stripping, which means removing anything that could rust or damage any archival material. Sometimes I'm listing documents on the computer and a brief description of what's in them, and this can be very, very interesting. Some of the most exciting things I've had my hands on was the listing of the autograph letters, which were letters written by a wide range of people. Queen Victoria, for instance, writing on Balmoral notepaper with a stag at the top. So that was very exciting. I've met a lot of people I wouldn't have met. I've been to places I wouldn't have been to. I've learnt things that I wouldn't probably have learnt before. It's just widened my whole horizons, really.
Very often volunteers go unrecognised for their work. The buzz that everyone has got out of Jean being given this award has been absolutely fantastic. It's also what that does to everybody else who volunteers here. So all of Jean's friends in the Friends of the Women's Library are incredibly excited, and it gave all of us a really big lift.
I've won some awards. Last year I won 2 awards from the MLA. Tomorrow I'm going to Buckingham Palace to receive an MBE. So you never know what can happen.
My name's Jim Hutchinson. I am the volunteer coordinator for the Imperial War Museum's London branches, but my office is here on HMS Belfast. I was brought in to help develop a volunteer programme for our 3 London sites. The museum in the centre here in London was keen to sort of make more of the volunteer opportunities than currently was happening at the time when I was appointed. For the volunteers, my post means that their offer of help is handled professionally, and they have somebody they can deal with from first contact all the way through recruitment and then developing within the organisation. They've always got a named person that can actually support them in their volunteering. I think that makes a big difference. Bringing volunteers in enables the museum itself to provide a greater level of focus in certain business areas or provide services that we're currently not staffed to provide. The volunteers are a very broad mixture of ages, previous experiences, knowledges and abilities. To use the ship as an example, the youngest volunteer at the moment is 18 and the oldest volunteer is just coming up to 84. And the youngest has an interest in history, but has never done much hands-on work before, whereas the oldest served on destroyers in the Second World War. The one thing they've all got in common here is that they all feel that what we're trying to do in the way of conserving the ship is something that they feel is worth supporting. Another big plus is seeing those people, particularly those that perhaps haven't had much experience before, develop while they're with us as volunteers and gain confidence. Sometimes people join us that are out of work. It's very satisfying to see those people then take skills out into the workplace that previously they didn't have. The award wasn't just a reflection on me, but on what I was able to achieve in partnership with other people. I appreciated they'd nominated me not just for the work I've done here, but for the work I did at Duxford for the 6 years previously. And it actually brought together, if you like, 9 years of my life. And it felt nice because it felt what I'd done had been noted. And it's always nice to feel that what you've done is being appreciated.
I'm Roy Clare, the Chief Executive of the Museums, Libraries and Archives Council, based in Birmingham, and we're here in London. Right across the country, volunteers are making a huge contribution in museums, libraries and also in archives. I know from my background running the National Maritime Museum, the huge contribution made by volunteers in various places in the museum. They were very much part of the team, and I admired their commitment, their enthusiasm, the way they got engaged, the sense of fun and also amusement. Frankly, volunteers are gold dust, and I'm delighted these awards are going ahead.
To anyone who's thinking of volunteering, it's a brilliant way to meet people, it's a brilliant way to feel valued as a person and to help other people and do something and give something back.
Don't think too long, just go and do it because I think it's a great opportunity.
You will find, actually, doors opened and areas expose themselves that you never dreamed were there before. And you will have an interesting and exciting time. And certainly, if my experience is true, meet an awful lot of very nice, friendly, interesting people.